job, but I don't want them there. You know, I wanna make sure that we give every opportunity to every kid to have the best education possible and they become successful.
Well, we're at the end of the line.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's better to deal with it beforehand. By the time they get this, we're getting the worst of the worst.
Yeah. Right.
The people that are the highest risk, the highest need.
Yeah.
And so by the time you get there, your success rate is already gonna be very limited. And so by the time you get, there's only so much we can do because some people are just.
Our goal should always
damaged.
be to get people, you know, not to that place.
The earliest intervention is the most economical.
Yeah.
It also makes the most sense, in terms of medical and professional, but it also is the least expensive.
There's wisdom there. Yes, ma'am.
I feel I'd be a little remiss if I just didn't do a very quick plug that right now we're in the midst of our community health needs assessment to look at what the community's needs are for the next 3 years. Starting January of 26 will be a new plan. Anecdotally, we're gonna have some changes in what maybe the priorities needs are in some of the early, and I think that substance use is gonna show up. Also interestingly enough, we've been doing focus groups to get kind of the community voice in it, and one of my staff members came in and I asked him how it was going, and he said, well, I facilitated a youth group in Peoria, I facilitated a youth discussion group in Tazewell, and I also went to some senior citizens in a fitness class. And I said, so what'd you hear? And he said, the one thing I heard from each of them is they have concerns about their personal safety. And he said it kind of set me back. He said, I expected it in Peoria. I didn't expect it in the 2 Tazewell County groups. And so this data is being gathered for each county, Peoria, Tazewell, and Woodford. We will have that. You'll be able to see it. It'll be the latest information, real time, of where we are with a lot of our community health needs. And I will make sure I pass that on to you. But I want to give a little commercial while we're talking about these things, that educating yourself is also part of like reading all these things that come your way. And it's going to be thick. You know, it's going to be thick. But I will make sure that gets in front of each of you here in the next probably 2 months. You'll be able to see that data.
The next proposal was brought up, it came up a couple different times. Construct a new courthouse with the committed funds. And I put this in a maintenance and improvements bucket, and you'll see more of those coming. Construct a new courthouse with the committed funds. Anybody want to jump in on that one? What your thoughts were? What your thoughts are as a potential goal? Again, this isn't the world according to Jim, guys, so jump in.
I feel like we're married to it. I feel like I came into the board and we're stuck with this project, so if I didn't like it, I'm stuck with it anyway. It's gonna happen.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's less a yes or no than a how much.
Gotcha.
That's where the real debate is that I'm hearing with my conservative friends.
Well, I mean, it could come down to too, and this is part of the education part of what the courthouse is and how that went down. So it's an issue of what your priorities is. The courthouse is a F- at best on safety and cannot be fixed. That's a priority, period. The courthouse, our case numbers are through the roof. It's just what we can do. So I don't know that, you know, cause you have all the other issues that Brett brings up about salaries, maintenance and buildings and all that, and priorities. So, you know, and every board does things that other boards have to deal with, like fixing maintenance that wasn't done. Right? So that's limiting funds we have here. So for the courthouse, what you do. I mean, that's the county board. But if you have questions regarding it, Link, me, Luke, or whoever it could be, can answer questions, and we may have different perspectives on it. But at least then we can have, you know, a good discussion, and hopefully a good we can end up at a good place to do everything that we need to do.
There are times, to support what you're saying, Your Honor, that I've been in the courthouse, both when I used to work there and later as a board member, and I'm a big, strong guy, and I've been, apprehensive about my own personal safety, both in the outside of the courtrooms and also in the elevator. There's gotta be better ways to do that. And I always think of people like you and Link and people who live there all day long, every day. And it's gotta be much worse for you to.
And to be clear, it has nothing to do with the sheriff or the staff.
Right.
It's a physical plant issue. Cause just so you know, like the guard will bring 10 inmates up with their backs turned in an elevator with people that are on class X felonies.
Yeah.
Who would want to do that? I mean, that's not good. And that, you know, and those guards are doing that, I have a lot of appreciation for them. So I just wanna get that point out there to what Russ is saying.
Speaking as one of those guards that used to do that, I can attest, I've shoved people out of that elevator that we had to shove out of the elevator because the people in there. But I wanted to add, the courthouse is just one piece of a complete building capital improvement plan for the entire county. The courthouse also needs to reflect, or the construction of the courthouse needs to reflect the elimination of a couple other buildings that we've talked about forever, of reducing our plant size, so the courthouse is just one piece of a multi-purpose park.
That's coming up too, thank you.
Segue.
Okay, that's, it's, that was brought up in our meetings. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, if I'm not mistaken, back late last year, the board committed, $44 million toward the new, building. Is that in question? Cause the way it's stated, it's, to me, it's saying, well, are we gonna spend that or not? And is that amount in question, or is that amount committed that we approved, back in November, or?
Not really. There's a new courthouse that's coming one way or another. What wasn't done was there was a whole lot of things that weren't shown to the board of where else that money should or could be spent, whether it's technology or different additions to the courthouse that you have to have if you're gonna do one part of it. So they're at 50% of the drawings right now on the courthouse that has gone through. So it's not even close to getting to a point of that. So what we're working on doing is being able to show everybody, this is what you're not gonna be able to have by spending that much money. And, you know, I've heard, you know, Your Honor, you would like a computer program that would like to be able to speak to all the different things like that. I don't know, that's $3 to $5 million. You know, where are you gonna get that if you're gonna spend this kind of thing? So it's some of those different things, it's like, it's gonna come to you as well as to, what's your priority?
Right.
You know, is it to be able to talk to the state's attorney and the jail and the different things like that, or is it an empty area of it? So like I say, there's a lot of stuff that's still coming, but as of the moment, there's a new courthouse coming. So it's just a matter of, you know, when it comes back to it, this is what it's gonna be, and what do you wanna not spend on, or what do you wanna give up? So.
Anybody else have something to add about the new courthouse as a goal?
Troublemaker.
Moving down, economic development, this came up in a couple of different conversations. Develop an economic development vision for the county. Thoughts about that as a potential goal?
I think in general, I'd like to see, I know we work with EDC, I would love to see a little bit, more communication there, and, you know, how better we can work with them, or whoever it is, whatever groups, as we go. I know we, you know, it's not like we give them a ton of money, and so how much are we getting there, how much more are we wanting, but I think, long-term, growing businesses, whatever it may be, it is gonna be helpful then to bring population, as opposed to just counting on Peoria County to bring a business and then hopefully people say, well, I don't wanna live over there, so I'll live in Tazewell but drive to Peoria to work. So I think, you know, for me, I think this is an important aspect, long-term viability of the county, how we go about that, you know, what those action items are, specific, in conjunction with EDC or whoever else it may be, can be built out, but to me, I think it's important.
And there's two more potential action items with this, one's the vision and the strategy, those developing strategy action items to accomplish that. Another one is the just overall growth of the county.
This was a big one for me as well. And the reason is, we have a shrinking population and an aging population, a shrinking workforce. We have different things where most everybody knows I bought Link's Business Homestead because as people continue to retire, they're not gonna be able to, and they get old, they're not gonna be able to go to nursing homes, they're not gonna do different things, so they're gonna need help in the homes. However, before they get to that age, they're hitting time for their property taxes freeze. And so they've got different things where it's like some of that revenue's gonna go down.
Yep.
And it's like, what happens when all of these people who are older, the baby boomers, don't pay as much on the taxes? Where's that gonna get spread out to? Is it gonna be to the younger people and the different things as well? I mean, I've had 3 or 4 people in the last year tell me that they're gonna have to move because they can't afford the property taxes on their house. Because as the assessed values go up, because of everything else with it, they're getting a cost increase, but they're not getting a pay increase to go along with that, so it's just harder on those different things. So is it businesses that are gonna come in and we're gonna try to bring some of that different things, you know, we're between Bloomington and Peoria, we've got a great opportunity for different types of revenue to come in. I hate to see it on the backs of people that are either building houses or doing houses that aren't gonna be, there's not gonna be as many of them, and so there's a portion that's gonna be higher. Schools are a huge tax sum. I mean, it's like, you sit there and look at it, school board's never met a dollar it doesn't like. It's one of those things that they sit there and they're going to just spend that money as it's going out. I mean, look at the portions that go to those different things, and so as they haven't adjusted how they teach schools or what they do different things, so they still need all the facilities, they do the different things, everybody needs a new football field, I think those portions are gonna go up as well, so I think we need to figure out what are we going to do to be able to continue to have revenue coming in, and so it doesn't get, again, more pressure on a smaller amount of people.
And that goes hand in hand, I had a conversation with the EDC also, and that goes hand in hand with what they talked about as potential opportunities for Tazewell County. And, Mike, I brought that up as well, having that strategy, looking at, and having those things in order, and working with the EDC, and how you guys can help the municipalities in the county better prepare for growth around their environs, right? What's that, their extraterritorial, which is in the county, preparing that land and that zoning for that growth. Anything else on economic development?
I guess I would say as well, what I think everybody else is thinking. We're seeing right now that 2 incidences, one where we're pulling a business from Peoria to Tazewell, and Peoria's not happy about that, but on the other side, they're pulling a much larger business from East Peoria across the river, and they've done everything they can to manipulate that, where it is guaranteed that they're going to pull that major business out of Tazewell County. I think relying on Peoria County or the EDC to think about Tazewell as much as they think about Peoria doesn't happen. I think it's Peoria markets, Peoria works, EDC works about here's what's available in Peoria, and if we can't find you anything in Peoria, well, let's show you the rest. I think we have to start being more proactive with our communities about what do we offer on this side of the river that's better than across the river. I mean, the Riverboat Casino, if anybody takes time to take a look at that, you will see how state legislators have manipulated that, where it is going to be on that side of the river. That's a major taxpayer from Tazewell County being ripped out of the county and shipped across the river. There's just no other way to say it.
Well, that connects to, occupying the playing field, because historically, Tazewell County has played a major role in regional economic development. When I say regional, I'm talking about a 6-county area. I used to be the chairman of that 6-county board. As I decided that I needed to spend more time doing some other things, you know, my successor was from Peoria County. And the kinds of things that John just talked about is exactly right. Guess what? He's not as focused on bringing the benefits to Tazewell. He's more focused on bringing the benefits to Peoria County. And if we're doing it right, we're working together as a well-oiled economic development team regionally. But the truth is, that makes great posters to put in a building, but it doesn't always happen. So we need to get re-involved in making sure that we are guaranteeing that Tazewell County is both not just a participant, but a beneficiary of regional economic development. Easier said than done, my friends.
I mean, Brett talked about the distribution of taxes. So when that does happen, that's 2 hotels. Yeah, we're gonna get half the portion of the riverboat, that's guaranteed. But we lost 2 hotels, we lost 3 restaurants, if they can't develop that property when it goes vacant. And then what else booms from the new land-based casino? We lost all of that revenue. That's a ton of tax revenue that then is gonna be distributed to every homeowner, and they're gonna have to bear the weight of it.
Yeah, I would just add, EDC, talked with them, and so there's 2 main initiatives that they thought we could consider. One is the gap loans. We used to have that type of program through state funding, and they made us develop it. We did that a couple years ago. So that's one option, take funds to be able to allow that for businesses. The second, there's just a lack of site-ready places, especially for buildings. You know, the buildings in the entire region. Someone to be able to walk right into, start doing an industrial facility with the ceiling requirements and everything. But the other part too is having the land ready to go. They don't wanna have to negotiate with different farmers and different people. They want to know that there is a site ready to go. And talking with Chris Eddy, the EDC director, a lot of times when they do get these requests for companies, the Pekin Industrial Park is pretty much the only spot that they have that they can recommend that meets those. So part of it's partnering. We've got a lot of communities that are doing that. There was a recent article with Pekin trying to attract a $500 million organization to bring it here. So we don't necessarily want to duplicate, but if we want to try to help get sites ready ourselves, if that's land commitments with farmers to, so that we know we have a spot committed and ready to help them with that process. So it's just striking that balance where municipalities are doing it, that's great, but if we want to also be participating as well, there's processes for that.
Perfect, thank you. Alright. Move on to the next potential goal. Implement, and this is technology again, implement the ability to do business online, pay taxes, etc., through the use of technology. Thoughts?
I see this as an action item.
Action item? Any other thoughts?
Yeah, the more, it's obvious, the more that county officers and department heads can, improve the functionality of their websites, that saves time and money for our constituents. They can do something in their chair at the kitchen table that they'd have to get in their car and spend gas money and time and effort in the cold weather that they shouldn't have to spend. John with economic statements. Notice I'm never gonna stop that, John.
Well, no, that's a good one, because you've addressed it for years, we couldn't do it because of the website. Now we have the website and we can do it. Unfortunately, I think this gets back to what Amy was talking about. I don't have the staff power right now to go out, because I've got 4 other projects going, to go out and get bids from companies to be able to build that for us until the fall. This fall, I'll be able to do that. So some of it is time, but then for smaller departments, who do they have that can help them move to that next level? We don't have any internal, they don't have the employees available. You know, Link has consistent services. He doesn't have somebody available. Hannah has consistent services through the year. I'm lucky in the fall this year, I have a little bit of a downtime where we can do something. Some offices don't have that. It would be nice if there was, a resource available to be able to help us move some of that, take some of these larger projects and initiate them.
I'm gonna ask Rachel if she'll loan you the developer of their system, because it's excellent.
We can pay out.
And again,
You can pay along with that.
this is a 4-year plan. So there's time built into the plan.
Just look it up. You can pay along.
Comments?
Oh, thank you.
I think a lot of us do have electronic payments, but I'm gonna just push back just a tiny little bit to John, and that is, we tried to do Kaizen and quality improvement where we would all hold hands and get into single systems, and we went back away from that, where everybody's doing their own thing. And I think we sometimes have to be owning our own selves, in that we sometimes put things into play, but it feels easier just to do it per office because of that control. And I know I'm appointed, not elected, so I did that, but I think sometimes we could help each other by reaching a hand out and
Collaborate.
those kind of things.
I'm not against technology, I think technology is great, but at the same time, if everybody sits at home, like every time I come to Pekin, I was short on gas the other day, I had to whip in and grab some gas, I always go through McDonald's and grab something, like, sitting at home on your couch and never leaving because you can do everything on your phone is not always a great thing. Like, getting out and about, doing things, like, you don't pay taxes in the cold, so, you know, maybe it'll be stormy, but I don't know. I mean, I'm all for progress, I think we have plenty of room for improvement, but having to come somewhere is not a bad thing. Unless you're headed to see me, and maybe that's it.
Nobody wants to.
Nobody wants to come see me.
Not good.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, but you've gotta realize, and you do, that a lot of our baby boom generation, pardon me, is getting older, and mobility is becoming a huge obstacle for those people. Some people don't walk, they don't drive, it's very hard. Amy will tell you all about that.
I think you
And
gotta look at
so we've gotta accommodate those people too.
Well, it's just happening.
Can't shoot them. Can't shoot them all.
I think we need to count your young people too, who, you know, we are open and I'm not complaining about the hours, cause I don't wanna work any earlier or later, so let me be clear on that.
She's not volunteering.
When you have people that work jobs and they work 8 to 5,
That's
they're
right.
working the same hours we are.
Right.
So, it's a convenience that I can go ahead and do that online, it's a convenience that I can get my things that I have to get done without having to take a break from work or a day off of work to go and run and do those items. So I understand the older people too, I get that point, but I think you have to look at both sides of that, is technology is going to help not only the older crowd get, so they don't need to leave, but the younger crowd who's at a job and can't come over and do that between the same hours that we're open and operate.
It's a convenience.
It is, it's a convenience.
Yeah, it's an option.
Yeah.
We've already talked about the next one, don't have to beat that to death. Effectively manage county revenue. There's, on this here, they were talking about, you know, enhancing the revenue, attracting more revenue, maximizing grants, that type of thing. What's your thoughts about that? I mean, it's hard to say no to that, what's your thoughts about that?
I think we do.
I was just, I will hang on to that and manage well. Thank you.
And this goes refers to education, this could be an action item, under the education blanket or bucket, if you will, which I thought was a fantastic idea. I think it was mentioned in here already. I was gonna bring it up because it's a wonderful idea. Develop a board member mentoring role or program. So we talked about how there's institutional knowledge that could be, we don't wanna lose. We have a large percentage, the percentage was shared with me during these sessions, of newer board members, 2 years or below, that can use, might benefit from mentoring. What's your thoughts about that?
Okay, so when I was a board member, I had Mike Harris take me under his wing, and he taught me a ton of stuff. And he was a safe place to go to ask a dumb question, and he really brought me along and encouraged me to like ask questions, say that out loud, don't be afraid. And I really think a mentor, having somebody that is that safe person
That
that
you
can.
can trust.
Yes,
Yes.
it's a great idea. It was very helpful to me.
So did you seek out Mike, or did Mike seek you out?
Well, we became fast friends when he took me around to all the departments, and so.
The one with the.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
You still do that, right, Mike?
Yes, he does. I sat right by him in the board meetings, and he, from the very beginning, he's been very approachable and said that from the start.
Have you had a tour?
I've had a tour of both, campuses, yes.
But there would be a lot of you that would be really great in this role.
Yes, yes.
I'll speak as a department head. I've appreciated that in the last 10 years from doing that. I think we need to do, it's great when you bring them around, but even ongoing. I know I was talking to Mark and he, the other day, and he said, like, I didn't realize you had 33 employees over there, like, and so continuing those conversations, not just one time. I mean, it's great, that interaction, but ongoing, so that you continue to understand what departments are doing or their needs or.
That's the basis of all my knowledge, or most of my knowledge, is to go visit the departments on my own and talk to them.
You start learning. Cause Mike, didn't you participate in a Kaizen with I think it was our pre-trial or something, and all of a sudden you start going like, wait a second, you don't have that kind of technology, you don't have that kind of ability, or like, so it was a learning experience for you.
Still a lot to learn, but that's
Yeah.
where I gained most of my knowledge, is visiting each department.
That's where the education piece is gonna, grow, like, one time is great, but ongoing is, and I like the whole idea you guys, attach the county board member to a department head when we prepare budgets, it's a great
Right.
idea. More of it.
And that was, individual members appreciated that budget attachment and learning.
And just to keep it nice and fluffy and warm, I would say